Then the other thing, I'm on a committee, if you will, for school climate, because they see that it's gone, things like bullying and want to try to
you can say ties in with my main emphasis, which is the physical activity. And my main emphasis in that is happy-hearted kids. And so often you could explain to them, I see, we're speaking from your perspective, that the bully, the one who is doing the bullying, is the one who is hurting the most. It's the one who has maybe been bullied before, but certainly isn't in that place of his true or her true joy. And so I think that we might be missing the mark a little bit by giving all of the attention in this bullying scenario to the one being bullied. Now, it's probably not a good idea to go into law of attraction with them there, because people who feel vulnerable attract bullies. They were just made for each other. And it's hard to help someone who's feeling vulnerable not feel vulnerable after a manifestation of why they feel vulnerable is in their experience. You could say, I think we've got to start in another place, because if we just push hard against the bullies and validate the victim, we're not helping anybody. Now, can they hear that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was going to say about it. Wasn't so much about that in particular, but about school climate and how we walk through the halls and how we behave in the cafeteria. And children will behave differently in the cafeteria than they will in the classroom or in the halls, and how to
children will behave the way they feel in relationship to the pressure that's upon them. And so in the playgrounds they behave better because they have more sense of freedom. In the cafeteria, they even behave better than in the classroom because they have a greater sense of freedom. Yes? No?
Not exactly.
What's going on in the cafeteria?
They're wild. They're not with their teachers or the authority figure that they would.
Oh, well, we think that's better.
Right.
They're exhibiting their freedom, but are they really misbehaving?
So that's
what, or are they just having fun?
I think you're right.
When fun and misbehavior are put in the same category, you got a bigger problem than you think.
That's what I'm talking about. So, for example, I knew a teacher.
And if we were on that committee, as you are, we would say, I was thinking that the more freedom that they are acknowledging that they have, the better they feel, and the better, therefore, it is. And so maybe we should be shooting toward more of a sense of freedom and our respectful expectation of them behaving. What do you think?
I'd love for you to come to our school for the day. Because I do hear everything you're saying, and I feel we all, like you said, feel similarly.
So you have a wonderful advantage on this committee, because you can say what you know from the inside of your experience. And so if we were in your seat, we would say something like, I've been thinking about this, and something just sort of is occurring to me in such a strong way that I have to say it. And that is, it feels to me like we are misunderstanding freedom and fun and discipline. It's like we're at odds with ourselves. And what is it that we ultimately want for these kids to pass through these classrooms, through this experience? What is it that we ultimately want for them? We want them to be self-assured. We want them to feel good about themselves. We want them to have good experiences. And then say, I have long thought that the experience of school is much more about the social interaction than it is about anything else, especially today when we all have access to whatever we want instantly on our phones. They all do too. So I think that what we're really learning here, of course, skills, all these magnificent teachers are helping with, say that, they'll like that. But even more important is they are learning how to be in the world. They are learning how to be with one another. They are learning how to be who they are. And if we're standing around and just by our presence we are causing them to be different than they are, what are they really finding out? I want them to know who they are by the time. How long are they in this particular school?
6 years.
And so in these 6 years, I want them to leave here feeling good about who they are. And so everything that I'm thinking toward is about that. And I know from my own experience, say to them, that when someone trusts me and expects good things from me, it's easier for me to find it. And when someone is watching me and expecting me to do something that they're not going to like, it's like the devil made me do it. It's like I almost can't stop myself from behaving in the way.
Mm-hmm.
We have a question for you, because we really don't think you're going to make much headway in any of this, because a lot of their minds are made up. But from your experience, do you think, from what you observe overall in the school, whether it's the cafeteria or the playground or the classroom, do you think that the majority of children, we know there are exceptions, but do you think they're mostly in alignment with who they are, or mostly not? From what you are observing.
Mostly in alignment.
And so your objective is to preserve that precious quality, not to drum it out of them. And so when you're just looking at it like that, what does rigid enforcement of rules or suspicious people prowling around watching, what does that accomplish in regards to that?
Nothing. I mean, it makes it worse, really.
And so what is your committee about? It's about the school climate. Well, what could be better than a climate where kids feel trusted and where they have relationship with teachers who are enjoying them rather than expecting them to misbehave?
And I think that's where we're heading. I do. We just started this training process, okay?
Training of who?
Training the teachers.
Training teachers?
Teachers to train each other about, it's a prescribed system, let's say. But it's
But what is the objective of it? Training them to what?
positive behavioral intervention support, PBIS. So it is acknowledging.
Every one of those words that contradict the other one. Positive and intervention don't go together. And neither does support. And so let's see if we can find a way that you can look at this differently. So positive meaning good feeling. Right. Good feeling, interaction. Ask them if you can change the word from intervention to interaction. Or co-creation would be even better, but they're not ready for that. Positive, interaction. And what was the next part?
Well, positive behavioral interaction.
Positive?
Intervention support.
Yeah.
So,
you know what we'd say every day we went to the meeting? These are such good kids. I've never seen a group of kids that were more fun to be around. And you know what I like best? Tell them, I like the way the teachers and the kids are sort of playing together. I like how these children are interacting with teachers, that they're not feeling wary of them or guarded about them. Just keep saying it the way you'd like it to be. Because you don't have a problem there as long as the majority of people there are children. The children have them outnumbered. You don't have a problem there. That's the way we would look at it. That's the way we would feel every day. And that's the evidence that we would be looking for. And every time you see some evidence of that, we would remember it, we would write it down, we would talk about it in the meeting, and any opposition to that, we would not see. If you see something that fits along the guidelines of what they're worried about, turn the other cheek. If you see something that is supporting what you know to be, then talk about that. And they won't accuse you of trying to tip the scale, because you'll just explain, hey, it's just what I see. It's just what seems to always be coming around me. And then you can point out, and you, ornery one, you're getting all the problems, aren't you? And there's a reason for, don't go that far. But there is a reason for that, isn't there? So we know that you know what we know, and we know that it makes sense to you, but we can feel, we talk a really good game up here. We talk about the laws of the universe, and here you are having to live it. Here you are having to find some way of making this fit into your day-to-day experiences. But the thing that we want to say about the importance of that is that you get it, that your point of attraction matters a lot, because everything is responding to you and what your point of attraction is. But we want to remind you that your point of attraction is about what you're broadcasting, because what you broadcast is your energetic offering, and your energetic offering is what you get back. And so when you understand that you're offering it all the time, and that what you're offering is being responded to, and then you're able to observe what's coming back to you, it makes it easier and easier for you to broadcast, if you're paying attention, in a way that causes things to come back more like you would like them to come back. So as you accept that you are not living here alone, you're living here with a lot of others, but that what they're doing really doesn't have the effect upon you that you all think that it does. It's your response to it. And that's the thing that the children are sort of demonstrating. Kids don't get all twirled up in things in the way adults do. And it's a little bit ironic that the adults think that if they could get the kids twirled up in it in the way that they are, then behavioral things would be better, but they wouldn't. And so as you just hold your knowledge that nothing's broken here, and that these kids have come forth with inner beings, and that they're being called by their inner being, and for the most part are allowing the calling, and that's why there is for the most part so much harmony. When you think about it, when you think about how many hours a day these kids spend together and how little really disruption there is, you have to acknowledge that well-being truly is abounding. And then if it is your dominant intent to lean in the direction of the well-being rather than find a problem and amplify it and get a stream of consciousness going that way, then it's pretty clear what you're wanting to do, isn't it?
Yes.
So we just have one important question for you, and that is, in this scenario where you have supervisors or people who are interested in what you have to say, and people who are wanting to guide you to some extent, guide you to guide them to guide them. So you might ask yourself, where am I really wanting to get my guidance? From these written words or from these new edicts that are being passed down from somewhere? Or am I wanting to get my guidance from my own inner being who understands all of this? Your inner being, or any teacher's inner being who is interfacing with any child, your inner being is interfacing with the inner beings of these children. You really do have the opportunity, without making waves in a community that doesn't understand it, you really do have the opportunity to inspire toward alignment. And we really think it's got to be the easiest job in the world, because they're already leaning in that direction so powerfully. By the time they show up in this classroom, it's a whole other deal.
I do
Just
experience that.
Yeah.
And that's why I love what I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why we said they're teaching you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Especially how to use my iPhone. Thank
Enough?
you. Yes.
Really
thank
good.
you very much.
Really good. Really good.